So now first, we're going to start the prayers. So all of you have these prayer books, right? Booklet. Okay, we'll start the prayer now. Your body is created from a billion perfect factor of goodness. Your speech satisfy an yearning of countless sentient beings. Your mind perceives all objects of knowledge exactly as they are. I bow my head to you, O chief of the Shakya clan. You are the most excellent sons of the such peerless teacher. You carry the burden of the inordinate activities of all conquerors, and in countless realms you engage in aesthetic display of emanations. I pay homage to you, O Maitreya and Manjushri. So difficult to fathom is the mother of all conquerors. You who unravel its contents as it is are the jewels of the world. You are held with great fame in all three spheres of the world. I pay homage to you, O Nagarjuna and Asanga. Stemming from these two great charioteers with excellence are the two parts of the profound view and vast conduct. You are the custodian of the treasury of instructions encompassing all essential points, or these parts without error. I pay homage to you, O Dibamkara. You are the eyes of see all the my great collections of scriptures. To the fortunate ones traveling to freedom, you even illuminated an excellent path. You do this through skillful deeds steered forth by compassion. I pay respectful homage to you, O all my spiritual mentors. The homage verses to the perfection of wisdom. I bow down to the mother of the conquerors of three times, the perfection of wisdom, inexpressible by words or thoughts, which is unproduced and unceased like an entity of the sky, the object of the wisdom of unique knowledge. Daya tha om kate kate para sangate buddhi yeso. Deata kate para samkate puti yeso. Deata kate para samkate puti yeso. May all negative forces opposed to Dharma be completely pacified. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May we be separate from problems and harmful conditions to Dharma. May all enjoyment be the accord with the Dharma, and may there be auspiciousness and perfect happiness here right now. Next expression of worship from Lord Maitreya's Abhisamaya Alankara text. By the knower of all hearers seeking pacification are led to peace. By the knower of paths, those benefiting migrating beings accomplish the wealth of the world. By the perfect possessions of it, the subjurity and verities possessing all aspects, to these mothers of the Buddhas, together with their host of here and Bodhisattvas, pay homage. Now, expression of worship from Arya Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamika Karika. He who taught dependent origination, no cessation and no origination, no inhalations and no permanence, no coming and no going, neither different nor same, these through climbing of conceptual elaborations, to you who is supreme speaker among all fully enlightened Buddhas, I pay homage. Mandala offering. Maybe today we're going to recite in Tibetan Vanity. O Shi Pi Ji Chu Shi Me To Dhamma Ri Ra Shi Ni De Ji Pa Ti Sa Ji Shi Tu Mi De Bi Wa Ji Lo Kli Ta Shi Ta Ji Pa So Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kanya Taya Me. So this stanza next, refuge and generating bodhicitta is the most important stanza. So when we're reciting this stanza, really meditate, take refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and generate bodhicitta, awakening mind. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulations I create through teaching to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Next, homage to the Buddha. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I make prostration. Ranja Sonra Kunla Tabi Mi Kazan Tapa Tubi Chungo Cho, Tsevi Kyome Tache Tsebai, Seze Ni Na La Kwebe Tu Namala Eke Da Luda Nijin Ki Tupon Tata Mi Kenan Ta Chowa Kunji Tana Che Zamba, Kamje Ke Tu Ta Ki Chue Ten To. Okay, so make sure here all the participators should keep your bodhicitta intentions as a motivation. It's very important, from my side, uh, teaching the sharing the dharma out of bodhicitta, uh, which is main purpose is to achieve Buddhahood for sake of all beings. And listeners say, the main purpose of listening this dharma is to achieve enlightenment Buddhahood for oneself for sake of all beings. These kind of intentions, never forget it. Always keep in your mind. So out of bodhicitta intention. So today, I think we are in stanza 6. So the stanza 5, from stanza first to stanza 5 is kind of the what you call this Lamrim, this teaching. I think they have kind of the four greatness or four special qualities, right? The first one showing the greatness of the teachings author in order to establish that it is of noble origin, right? That part first is finished now, right? Make sure this dharma is originated from the source, from the Buddha. So it's not just somebody, who just created, or it's not about that. It's source come from Buddha Shakyamuni. And I mentioned last time the root text of this Lamrim, Song of Explorations, is the root text is Prajnaparamita Sutra, right? The sutra which is called the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So that we always be remember, this is the essence, the point, the subject of the Prajnaparamita Sutra, which explaining in this text. So the root text is Prajnaparamita Sutra, which taught by Buddha Shakyamuni, who is the founder of this religion, Buddhism, and who taught this sutra at India, specific the state called Bihar, and what you call Rajgiri, the small town Rajgiri in the Vulture Peak, the mountain, right? That's the place he taught. So that's why uh, stanza first to stanza fifth, and all this lineage master Buddha to Arya Maitreya and Manjushri, right? Then after Nagarjuna and Arya Asanga, these are the two human beings. Maitreya and Manjushri is the god realm beings, right? Then finally, who bring it to Tibet is Atisha Dipankara, Indian great master, right? Around 10, 11 centuries. So he's the one who brought this teaching in Tibet. And through that, all the lineage master, the stanza five, we homage to our dear teachers, the gurus, where you receive this teaching from, right? That's how those stanza five is mainly showing the greatness of this teaching's author in order to establish that it is of noble origin, right? Now, second greatness this teaching has is showing the greatness of teaching in order to engender respect for the instructions. That's now second heading. So today, stanza six is started that, right? Showing the greatness of, so kind of the, uh, as a practitioner, and we have to have kind of what you call respect attitude toward this dharma, these instructions. Respect, faith to the instruction, to this dharma. If you have respect and faith, and that you study in this dharma is not going into only in academic level. It helps to the experiential level also. So having faith and respect to the dharma where you're studying, if you have faith and respect, that helps to use this dharma as not just as an academic level, it's mainly for the individual's experiential level. That's why it's very important to have the faith to this dharma. So, showing the greatness of teaching in order to engender respect for the instructions. Stanza 6. Zamlin keba yonki tsukikin nyempe paten drona langyewa ludu tome nyele rimshendu leju chanju lamji rimpanis. You are the crowning jewels among all the learned ones of this world. Your banner of fame flatters vibrantly amongst the sentient beings. O Nagarjuna and Asanga, from you flow in an excellent steady stream this instruction on the stages of the path to enlightenment. So what is that means? You are the crowning jewels among all the learned ones of this world, right? Which means Um, So this stanza 6 is showing like identifying the subject of the compose, the subject of this text, right? Identify the kind of the understanding that subject of this, what the text we are going to study. It's called identifying the subject of composed. So in all, they have three headings. First, lineage distinction. Then characteristic or greatness of this teaching. Then third, purpose of teaching or benefit of the teachings, right? Purpose or the benefit of this text. So identify the subject of compose with this text. Identify the subject of the text. The first, lineage and distinction. So this Lamrim teaching specific the lineage, right, which we have, where they're coming from. So here say, you are the crowning jewels. You, which is Arya Asanga and Arya Nagarjuna, right? They are the two Indian great masters mentioned last time. Nagarjuna is around 2nd century. Arya Asanga maybe around 4th or 5th centuries, around there. So these are the two. You are the crowning jewels among all the learned ones in this world. So in this world, one of the best scholar of this teaching, like Buddha's teachings, like all the scholar, right, of Buddhists, you are the two is like crowning jewels, like a top scholar, right? The crown, like a top scholars, Arya Asanga and Nagarjuna, right? Mentioned earlier, this teaching, Lamrim teaching, have two. It's derived from Buddha through two different lineage. One lineage is called the lineage of extensive deeds, right? One lineage is called the lineage of profound view. So the main subject of this Lamrim teaching is conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta, which means wisdom of emptiness, right? That's we wanted to talk in the last class. So the lineage of extensive deeds are very much emphasized on conventional bodhicitta, right? Which is from Buddha to Maitreya, Maitreya to Arya Asanga, right? He is the holder, the lineage, like a main pillar of this lineage, right? Arya Asanga. Then Buddha to Manjushri, Manjushri to Nagarjuna. That lineage is called lineage of profound view, right? Lineage of profound view, which emphasize on ultimate bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, right? So that is why Arya Nagarjuna is the one of the main uh, master, Indian master, like a founder. He's like a one founder of this uh, uh, what you call Madhyamika philosophy, middle way consequences schools, middle way schools, right? So through him, through the Nagarjuna, right, this philosophies is spread out in this world. So that's why you Arya Asanga and Arya Nagarjuna is the one of the top scholar among all those great master in India, right? That's why it's called you are the crowning jewels among all the learned ones of this world. Your banner of fame flutter vibrantly amongst the sentient beings. So, what you call the so your fame and reputations are spread to all over the world, all over the three world. That's called your banner of fame. It's flatter vibrantly among the sentient beings. O Nagarjuna and Asanga, from you flow in an excellent steady stream this instruction on the stages of the path to enlightenment. It's called the Lamrim, right? Chanchu Lamrim, this text. So you through Nagarjuna and Arya Asanga, from you flow the excellent steady stream, right? Excellent, this lineage practice, right? The stable, uh, what you call unbroken lineage, they explain the teachings. So excellent steady stream, this instruction, this Lamrim instruction, remain here. So that means the Lamrim we today we're studying these Lamrim, the lineage distinction. It's come from two different lineage distinction. So uh, stanza 6 is showing the what you call the kind of the that subject of this teaching, which is conventional and ultimate bodhicitta, right? So it introduces us, this teaching comes from Nagarjuna and Arya Asanga lineage, right? It's showing the excellent steady stream, the lineage uh, derived from these two masters. So it's kind of showing the reliable source of the uh, Lamrim teachings. So that stanza 6 shows the lineage of distinction. Then the stanza 7, Gyugu Dedun Malu Koena, Dambarinje Wangi Gyabutes. Sumsang Tongi Chu Dubiche, Penden Labrashebe Gyazwan Yins. So, second is it's called the characteristic or the greatness of teaching, this teaching, right? This text. So greatness of this text, usually, general, showing the general greatness of this teaching or specific greatness of this teaching. So this stanza 6, which is called, since it fulfill all the wishes of beings without exception, it is the King of Kings among all kind essential instruction. Since it gathers into the thousands of excellent rivers of Tirsi, it is as well the ocean of most glorious, well-uttered insights. So it's showing the greatness of the, showing general greatness of teaching, right? General greatness. First, general greatness first is kind of the teaching, since it fulfills all the wishes of the beings without exception, right? Fulfill all wishes. In specific, this teaching, the Lamrim teaching, has three scopes, right? Three different type of the practice, or three division, or what do you call, three different parts, right? As usually it's called the three scopes. So one thing is the people, the practitioners who have concern, like the students who have concern about the suffering of three lower realms, right? Which is hell realm, hungry ghost, animals. So they have concern and fear of three lower realms. So they are seeking their next life will born into higher rebirths, which mainly human being and God realms, right? Human realms and the God realms. Demigod is part of the God realms. That's I don't need to make two separate there. So that's why that's the one student, their wishes is at least born into higher rebirth. That's the one wish. Second wish is the understanding of suffering. It's not only three lower realms, whole samsara, right? The concern, the suffering of whole samsara. Through that, they are seeking themselves to achieve liberation, nirvana, right? Self-liberations. That's the second wishes. The certain students have wish to themselves to achieve liberation and concern all the samsara suffering. That's the second. There's another student which is not only one's own suffering, who concern entire sentient beings' sufferings. That's why they're seeking themselves not only liberation, much higher enlightenment, Buddhahood, achieved enlightenment, Buddhahood, right? So that's the third wishes. So here saying, since it fulfill all the wishes, so all the wishes, the smaller wishes, which is seeking oneself to achieve higher rebirth, medium wishes, seeking oneself to achieve the liberations, great wishes is seeking not only oneself, entire sentient beings, right? Then seeking oneself to achieve Buddhahood, not just self-liberations, right? That's the great wishes. So this teaching of this Lamrim, these instructions, since it fulfill all the wishes of beings without exception, this teaching has the greatness of fulfill of the each of those beings their wishes. So small capacity, medium capacity, great capacity, three different types of practitioners. According to that, when the Lamrim teaching here, they have the teaching of small scope, right? Medium scope, and the great scopes, three. Small scope is just seeking oneself to achieve higher rebirth. That's all, right? Some Buddhist practitioner, you look at, they're just seeking themselves to born into God realms, you know, pure lands. They're they're concerned about the suffering of three lords. I want to born into just pure land myself. That's all, right? So that's similar like that, who concern the suffering of three lords and seeking oneself just born into next life with the great human beings or the pure land and God realm, something just only seeking that way, right? Through that, you practicing Buddha Dharma. You follow Buddha's teachings. There is another practitioner which is much better than their mind, who much better understanding. So not only, of course, they wants to born into higher rebirth, they also have concern about suffering of three lower realms. But not only that, upon there, they concern entire samsara, right? Entire samsara, I mean all six realms, human suffering of human realms, God realms everywhere. So concern the suffering which is much bigger. And not only seeking oneself to achieve the higher rebirth, they want to much higher liberation, freedom of destructive emotions, right? Much higher view, much higher wishes. Then next practitioner are not only suffering of three lower realms, not only a concern about suffering of samsara, also upon their concern of suffering of entire sentient beings suffering, not only their suffering, also entire sentient beings. So only the way to help to other sentient beings to liberate them, you have to achieve Buddhahood, right? Bodhicitta. So that's why that's the great capacity, right? Great practitioner, great wish. So that's how these Lamrim teaching can give all this information according to small, medium, and great capacity. So they have this kind of the quality, to share all of these instructions. So that's what I call, since it fulfill of the wishes of being without exception, it is the King of Kings among all consubstantial instruction. Therefore, right, what you call it is the King of Kings among the quintessential instruction, among the many Dharma Buddhist teaching there. This Lamrim is like a king of the kings, one of the top teachings, because Lamrim, this text has, all instruction, all Buddha's teachings in there for the small capacity, scopes practitioner, medium scope practitioner, great scope practitioner. It can serve to all the practitioners, right? Not only one level or second level. It can serve to the level from the beginner to the last level. Have all this capacity. That's why I call this. It is the king of the kings among the all quintessential instruction. There are thousands of quintessential instruction and Buddha's teachings, instruction there. This Lamrim is the like a king of kings, who have that capacity to serve to all the students, different levels of the students, can satisfy, can help to achieve their wishes, right? That's why this teaching has special quality. Since it gathers into the thousands of excellent rivers of treatise, it is as well the origin of most glorious, well uttered insight. 삼상동의 추 dübeçir kendi pande leadership is. That means this this teaching, it shows core meaning of all the teachings of the Buddhist scriptures. This teaching, the Lamrim, since it gathers into the thousands of excellent river of the treatise, since there are thousands of the Buddha's teachings, the treatises around there, right? And it is as well the ocean of most glorious, well uttered insight. All the thousand rivers, finally, it goes into the ocean. Right? The ocean hosts all these rivers, waters are in the oceans. Similarly, this Lamrim teaching, has shows all the core meaning of all the teachings of the Buddhas. Theravadas, Sutrayanas, Mahayanas, all the varieties, scriptures which we have. So this teaching explain the meaning of, it shows all the meanings of the teachings of Buddhist scriptures, all the Buddhist scriptures. That's why it's kind of it's what you call the um, uh, like an ocean, who hosts all the variety rivers of the waters are in the ocean. Like all the Buddhist teachings are in this Lamrim has that. So that's why this Lamrim teaching is very that's why I'm saying it's very special, right? It's called, I mentioned earlier, it's like showing the mm, what you call lineage distinction and greatness of this teaching, or characteristic or greatness of this teaching. General greatness of this teaching is, this this teaching has the quality which is it fulfills the wishes of all sentient beings, right? And it shows the core meaning of all the Buddhist scriptures. So these are the general kind of the greatness of the teaching. Now, specific greatness of this teaching, the showing the specific, the greatness of this teaching, which is stanza number 8. Tempa tamje geme tokpa songra mali tampar charwa geyo kompa tela nyeba nyeche cheba yangsa le tang songs. So it helps to recognize all teachings to be free of contradictions. It helps the dawning of all dawning of all scriptures as pit instructions. It helps to find easily the enlightened intention of the conquerors. It helps also to guard against the abyss of grave negative deeds. So they are showing the full greatness of the teaching, right? Full greatness of this teaching, which is the first, what is called the greatness of, sorry, what is this saying here? It helps to recognize all teachings to be free of contradictions. What that means, understanding that all the teachings of the great vehicle, small vehicle, right? The scriptures and the realizations of the sutras and tantras are not contradictory, but are conditioning for one person to attain the enlightenment through the relying on these instructions. Or yes, that means this when you study the Lamrim, sometimes we have a small vehicle tradition, right? Great vehicle, the Theravada's tradition, Mahayana's tradition. Within the Mahayana tradition, we have a Sutrayana tradition, Vajrayana tradition, right? Some of the practitioner, when you study these things, it's feel like they are contradicting each others, right? Also, Sutrayana and the Vajrayana, right? Sutrayana and Vajrayana looks, they are contradicting each others. That's how we see. So therefore, here saying it helps understanding this Lamrim, this text, Lamrim teachings, helps to recognize all the teachings, Theravada, Mahayana, Sutrayana, Vajrayana, all the teachings to be free of contradictions. Instead of contradict, complementary, which means which means it scriptures helps, right? It helps for the person to attain enlightenment through relying on these instruction. So Theravada's teaching, Sutrayana, Mahayana, within the Sutrayana, Mahayana, which is Sutrayana, Vajrayana, instead of contradicted, it helps complementary each other's. So for instance, Theravada's teaching is like a basic foundation, right? Helps. Then it's grow the Mahayana, Sutrayana, right? Specific. Then Sutrayana teaching with the Mahayana, Sutrayana helps to grow the Vajrayana teachings, right? For instance, main point is bodhicitta is the main subject. So Theravada's teachings, when we study on renunciation, one of the main, they focus renunciation, right? All of these are the causes of bodhicitta practice. Renunciation practice are the causes of bodhicitta. Without renunciation, you cannot cultivate bodhicitta, right? So Theravada's teachings are like a basic foundation to generate the bodhicitta. This Sutrayana's teaching. So Vajrayanas are the result of the bodhicitta, right? So the Vajrayana teaching is results of the bodhicitta. Put it, like this way. It's not contradicting each other's. It's complementary. helping each other. So when you really study the Lamrim perfectly understanding, for you, you don't see any contradict each other. Instead of that, it helps you all these scriptures, right? All these scriptures, you know, helps you realization of Sutrayana, Tantrayana, not contradictory doctrine, but a condition for one person to attain the enlightenment. It helps to each of these are conditioned, supports to oneself to achieve enlightenment, Buddhahood, not contradicting each other's, right? This is very, very important because when we even even within the Mahayana study, when we study, sometimes we feel like this teaching and that teaching is contradict, which means we cannot bring together, we cannot support each other's. For us, it looks like they are two completely different way, right? And you have difficult to apply both practice, you know, simultaneously, feel like kind of contradicting each other's. But when you understanding the Lamrim, it helps to complementary, not contradictory each other, right? Supports each practice will support to next practice. So that's how first the greatness of this teaching has is, here saying helping to recognize all the Buddha's teachings to be free of contradictions. Then when you when you're understanding that, when you see the other practitioners who are Theravada practitioners, who are another uh, lineage, you don't feel against you. You don't feel they are, do not know they are the wrong path. Sometimes people, when you look, oh, my practice is the best, but these are something wrong choice, or they are the lower one, or they are the blood. We try to looking down to the others, right? So these understanding on Lamrim helps you to appreciate more to the other, helps you to grow respect attitude to all these different traditions which we have. That's the first. Second, it helps the dawning of all in scriptures are pit instructions, which means so it helps to understanding that all of the scriptures are instruction for practice, which means that all the words of the Buddha, all this instruction, the Dharma, the words of the Buddha, together with their commentaries, right? Sutras and the commentary of Indian master and Tibetan master, many Buddha's teaching we have, all the scriptures appear as instruction that demonstrate the practice of taming one's own mind, which means all the teachings, right, which we have helps you to apply to taming one's own mind, right? You can able to utilize, apply these teachings for taming one's own mind. Sometime when we study the Buddha Dharma, we sometimes we go more academic way. We have a difficult, we do not know this teaching, it's happening for what? How should I apply this specific teaching to reduce my destructive emotion? Sometimes we use these teachings just for sharing to the people. It's very philosophy, very deep, and this is just like when we go to the modern school, hmm, which just shares like a knowledge. It is just like a knowledge. It is not for the practical, individual's experiential level. Sometimes we have a difficult to apply to tame one's own mind. It's very profound, very philosophy, and very deep, but we have a struggle. How can I use this teaching for tames my mind? Right? That's why sometimes you say it's a very scholar, Buddhist scholar, but he or she, their mind is same level. It didn't change it. right? The ego levels remain same. The arrogance is remain same. The attachment, angers remain same. That means they do not know how to apply to the practical way, right? It goes to more academic way. So people have struggled these things. Sometimes when you read, for instance, Heart Sutra, right? The Buddha scripture, you put there Heart Sutra, okay, practice Heart Sutra. Oh, how can I practice Heart Sutra? Right? We have a struggle to how to apply for practice. I can explain the Heart Sutra, I can recite the Heart Sutra, but for me, apply the practice. How can I apply it? We do not know sometimes. Some of the scriptures, very profound philosophy, we have a struggle to apply the practical way. That's why if you're understanding the Lamrim helps you. Buddha's teachings, you know, Indian masters, commentaries of the Buddha sutras or Tibetan commentary of these Buddhist scriptures, right? For you, you can you can able to apply all of this instruction that demonstrate the practice of taming one's own mind. You can able to apply for tamings one's own mind. So for subduing for one's own mind, for disciplining one's own mind. So it helps you. How should I apply this practice? I mentioned, long time ago when I write this Loric text, right? The Buddhist psychologist, that text in the traditionally text, which is very academic, very, very academic, looks like very difficult to apply the practical way. How should I use this for practice level? How should I apply for practical? So we have a struggle that. That's why I wrote this seven division mind in the more practical way, right? How to apply it. So similarly, many of some sutras, the practice, we have a struggle to how to apply for the practical. If you do not know how to apply the practical, for the practice to taming one's own mind, then that sutra, the teaching, how much you study, it's not benefit to you to reduce your destructive emotion. It may, it may create you, after you understanding these things, it may create you more arrogance, more ego. Or I know this scripture, I know, and you can explain perfectly with the logic, reason, everything perfectly, but you cannot do practice. It's that teaching didn't help you. Another word is it didn't help you to subdue your mind, to tame your mind. Another word is it didn't help you to reduce your destructive emotion because you do not know how to apply this. That's why study on understanding the Lamrim will help you, right? Uh, that's the second. It's called it helps the dawning of all scriptures as Pete instruction, right? Then the next, it helps to find is easily the enlightened intention of the conquerors. So understanding the Lamrim that one easily gains, certainly in the meaning of all those commentaries of the Buddha's intention. So when you read any scriptures, any Buddhist text, you will easily to understand what is the main point, what is the intention of these scriptures, where the composer, the Buddha wrote it, what is the intentions, right? You're understanding the main intentions of the uh, Buddhas. What's the purpose of writing? Because sometimes, if we do not know what is the main intention of this specific sutra, then when we study, we're not going to get the point. We'll not reach the main point. Buddha, any scripture, when Buddha wrote it, when Buddha teach it, they always have certain point there, main purpose there. So if you do not understanding that purpose, then you will not going to reach that purpose through study on this text. You will not get that, achieve that purpose. So understanding the Lamrim, it is saying any text when you read it, you can understanding what is the intentions of the Buddhas and to wrote this text, to wrote these commentaries, right? All of this. So that's why it helps to find easily the enlightened intention of the conquerors. Then the last, it helps also to guard against an abyss of grave negative deeds, which means through their power, great misdeeds such as abandoning the dharma are automatically stopped. Like mainly what is this is, here saying it helps also to guard against the abyss of grave negative deeds. Here, one of the great negative deed is kind of the misdeeds of such as abandoning the dharma. So negative karma, which is called the such as abandoning the dharma. Abandoning the dharma, what that mean? That means sometimes as a Mahayana practitioner, you say, oh, this is Theravada's teaching. It's lower. You're abandoning. You're looking down this dharma, right? Sometimes when you're practicing in Theravada's dharma, you're looking the Mahayana dharma. Oh, these are not pure. It's mixed with somebody else. Somebody make it. So you abandon. You're looking down to those dharma. This mostly dharma practitioners have this karma accumulate. Other who are not understanding the dharma, they have nothing to do with this. The person who study dharma, just only their own dharma, but they do not know all the other things, then they think dharma means only my dharma. Rest of these all are wrong, mistakes. That kind of narrow-minded is quite possible. That's why sometimes within the Buddhists, they are fighting each other, because of the religion, right? So that's why if you're understanding the Lamrim teaching, it will help to abandon, these negative karma. It's called the through the power. Study on this power, great misdeeds such as abandoning the dharma are automatically stopped. It automatically stopped it because Lamrim teaching has whole concept in there, right? Theravada, Sutrayana, and within the Mahayana, Sutrayana and Vajra, all concept there. So therefore, you appreciating, oh, this dharma, this tradition, that tradition, because you're always looking the point. Sometimes words may be different. Sometimes when they apply the practice may be different way. But you're understanding the main points. So when you see this main point, then you feel appreciate, respect to them. So if your understanding of Buddhism is very limited, then that makes you narrow-minded. Sometimes within the Buddhists, you only learning your own traditions, right? You grow up with this. For you, Buddhism means that all. Only this tradition. That's all. Rest of all other things comes, you say, oh, no, 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 no. These are mistake. These are the wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. So makes everything's wrong. Yours only. Then just seeing wrong, it's okay. Then you're looking down to that. That's called the negative karma, such as abandoning the dharma. You abandoning the other's dharma. It's the worst negative karmas, right? The worst negative karmas, because that kind of karma will obstruct you to achieve the higher realization, right? It's obstruct you. So therefore, this is all lack of understanding the vast teaching of the Buddhas. Well, that's why it makes this kind of the narrow-minded. This is quite popular. It's quite popular. So sometimes we are saying, sometimes you like, for instance, you go to the one monastery, You study there 20 years, like right? Like ourselves, like Geshe. With specific the monastery, you study, you turn here, you get the title, all kind of that. You think, oh, I know everything now because I'm the, what you call professor of this teaching, or I am the doctor of this philosophy. So you really pops up, right? Very much like that. Then anything, the new other things you which you do not know, when these things comes here, it's no, 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 no. This is not Buddhist teaching. This is somebody else. So you really looking down. So that's why, you're accumulating kind of the negative karma to abandoning many others Buddha's teachings, the dharmas. So looking down this others tradition, it's not only creating bad karma, but it's also destroying the harmony within the sanghas, destroying the unitary harmony within the sanghas. It's really worse. And sometimes it can create the wars. These are danger. It's all lack of understanding the karma. So then you ego, you arrogance, you do not want to listen to anything. You know, even there are so many good things. You're not listening, you're not opening heart. How can you know there? Right? You just get one or two pieces from there. Sometimes maybe one or two pieces wrong things. You just take that one, then blame everything. Whatever the tradition, oh, these are bad because they're doing this, they're doing that. You take one or two, of course, all the practitioners have mistakes. They are sentient beings. They are not the enlightened beings. That person's mistake, use that and blame to all the traditions. That's how today. So when you're understanding the Lamrim really good, experiencing this, then your minds become much bigger, broad thinking, bigger thinking. So it helps to stop those negative karma, which, what you call as abandoning the dharmas, right? Negative karma of abandoning the dharmas. So all of this greatness, the quality which this Lamrim has. So that's why these four I mentioned earlier, showing the four greatness of the teachings, right? Showing this teaching as four greatness, four qualities, specific qualities, the greatness. So these are understanding the lamrims, what we're studying. I mentioned showing this instruction, right? It's kind of the is suitable to practice. And understanding on that, it helps you or showing this instruction lamrim is suitable for practice. It's a reliable source, kind of that. So before you practice, first you need to know all of these qualities, right? A source come from Buddha, reliable source. The teaching itself has all this variety, greatness, the qualities, right? When you understanding on this, it helps to cultivate the more uh, desire, wish to study, to practice these teachings. Tenpa tamche geme toba da sunra mali tambar charwa da gewe komba tela nyeba da nyeje chumbe yangsa le jang sums. Okay, stanza 8 finish. Now stanza 9, dichir gebe kebe kibu yi kende dume tembe tamba cho. Kibu sumje lamji rimba yi yira meto chenden sushi yes. So now this is kind of the purpose of the benefit. What is the benefit of this teaching? What is the purpose? Yes, saying therefore, which means all these four qualities, specific four quality and general quality, the greatness of this teaching we mentioned earlier, because of the Lamrim teaching has or possession with these greatness, therefore, this most excellent instruction that is sought after, right? By numerous fortunate ones like the learned ones of the India and Tibet. 이치를 개비 기부 이견도 되면 tembe tambachos. Therefore, this most excellent instruction that is sought after means, who practicing, who wants to study, who wants to learn by numerous fortunate ones like the learned ones of Indian and Tibet. So there are many great masters from India and Tibet, right? Lineage masters. I mentioned earlier, till Atisha, you know, before from Buddha, before century to Atisha 10th centuries. Between that, all the practitioners are Indians, right? Indian and other countries, right now some of them in Sumatras and all others place. Um, so that's why I'm saying after the um, Atisha bring this Lamrim to Tibet, and till today, many Tibetan great masters, right, study, practice on this instruction. Through that, many of them, they achieved the very high realizations. So that's why it's saying, therefore, this most excellent instruction, which means this most excellent teaching, the Lamrim teaching, that is sought after by numerous fortunate ones like the learned ones of India and Tibet, all these great masters from India and Tibet, this instruction of the stages of the path, which called the Lamrim, this instruction of the stages of the path, the Lamrim, of the person of three capacities. I mentioned earlier, right? This Lamrim is teaching for the person of three capacities. What intelligent person is there whose mind is not captured by it? So this instruction, the stages of the path of the person of three capacity. First capacity is the person who are concerned the suffering of three lower realms, wish to achieve higher rebirth, right? God and human realms. Second person is, concerned samsara suffering from all the six realms, right? And seeking oneself to achieve liberation, self-liberations. Second person. Third, uh, whose concern is not only suffering of three lower realms, samsara sufferings, it's also concerned suffering entire sentient beings, oneself and others suffering also the concern. Through that, seeking oneself to achieve Buddhahood for sake of all beings, right? So these three capacity. So this instruction of the stages of the path of person of three capacity of them, right? It's really important for them. It really helps them. So, what intelligent person is there whose mind is not captured by it? Who will going to ignore this? Right? They all want it. This is the best instruction. Who will going to ignore? Who will going to neglecting these teachings? That's how he's saying. This teaching is very powerful, huge benefit to all the variety level of the practitioners, right? Put it all the three level of practitioner, all the level of practitioner, you put it into three person, small capacity, the person of medium, and the person of great capacities can benefit, can achieve their wish through study on this Lamrim. So this Lamrim has this quality. Why not? We should take it, right? Why not? That's why I say whose mind is not captured by it. Who will go to ignore? So of course we're going to take it. We're going to study. We're going to practice. So it's showing this how much is benefit. Then the next. So 군지 닝부 두두와 최대 틀어된다 년배장 감지 최 세다 퇴배 표현소 랍진 듀버니베 대전삼스. So also the nine stanza nine also is showing the what you call the composer, right? The writers, Lama Tsongkhapa's promising I will going to write this text. It's called the pledge to compose this text. This stanza 9. This is a very important, huge benefit. I'm happily, right, happily to compose, to write this text. So pledge or promise to writing the text is also important as a writer's practitioner. When you pledge, when you promise, it will help you to accomplish your wish. So your promise helps to encourage you, constantly. Because when you write the books, there are many obstacles will obstruct you. So when you're promising, I will going to write this text, that promising helps to encourage you constantly put effort till you achieved, your wish. That's why he promised to compose this text, stanza 9. Then the stanza 10 is sura kunji nyingbo dodo wa tsudi tenre da nyembe tang tamche cheda tebe pyonyo so lapjin dubara nyebe te sams. This concise instructions distilling the essence of all scriptures. So this concise instruction, this Lamrim teaching, right? This instruction, concise instruction, distilling the essence of all scriptures. So it's essence of the all scriptures, put it there, the main point, everything's, which means this I mentioned earlier, this Lamrim teaching is called the uh, one of the name of this text in English is called the Lamrim Ditun, condensed point of the stages of the path, right? Condensed point of the stages of the path. This is the condensed point, the small Lamrim. So that's why this text, it's concise instructions, concise all these important Buddha's teaching, the instructions, distilling the essence of all the scriptures. So all the scriptures, the essence of meanings are concise, are put it into this text with very small, concise way of the putting all in like as what you call small word, right? One little word has lots of information there. So that's what's called it's concise instruction distilling the essence of all scriptures, even though reciting it or listening to it only once. The benefit of teaching the Dharma, listening to it, and so on, since such waves of merit are bound to be getters contemplating its meanings. So that means this important scripture, instruction, the Lamrim, even through reciting, even you're reading this text, the Lamrim, listening, also what you call teaching, through reciting oneself or teaching or listening it, to it only once, the benefit of teaching the Dharma, listening to it, and so on, since such waves of merit are bound to be gather, contemplate its meaning. So just teaching, sharing, listening, or what reciting this text will accumulating huge portions of the merits. Waves of merits are bound to be gathered, contemplate its meaning. So, how much benefit of studying this text, how much merit you can accumulate to listening, to studying, to reciting, you should again and again and again think about, contemplate, which means contemplating meditation of benefit to listening and studying on these teachings, right? So that helps you to inspire you to study these texts. Studying Lamrim texts is not easy. Many people we have the nature, huge, big benefit, which we want it, but small effort. We do not want to put so much effort, just very small effort and huge benefit. That's how we want it. That's why many of people like the Vajrayana. And they like Vajrayana. What kind of Vajrayana? They like Vajrayana to receive the empowerment. That's all. Because you don't need to do anything. You sit there, right? Then you listen, oh, I receive empowerment. So all my negative karma is gone. Now everything's clean. Empowerment of body, empowerment of speech, empowerment of mind. So contaminated body, speech, and mind are completely purified, now turned into enlightened body, speech, and mind. That's how it is. The people think that, and they believe that. So that's why when you give empowerment, they like it. Hmm. They receive this. When you teach the Lamrim like that, you don't see them because it's very hard and it takes very long time. So that kind of, the people mindset who do not know these things. Therefore, people who do not have solid karma cannot able to study these Lamrim. Even they study just maybe for a few stanzas before, they never ever finish completely. Never. Practice was impossible. Even studying, put the effort to study fully complete, many of them, they fail. They fail. You see today these teachings, right? Each day you can see, ended up maybe 20 people, maybe ended up there, only left 20 people or something. Maybe they will come that way. Because these studying on the Lamrim, either you have to have huge merit from your past life, something very good connection with these teachings, or either you might be have right now a very strong effort to learn this, through understanding how much benefit of these teachings. That's why Lama Tsongkhapa tried to explaining this Lamrim, the quality, the greatness of this teaching, all of this is talking again, to try to understanding this. When you really understand, it may helps to cultivate the effort, aspiration to study the Lamrim, to practice the Lamrim, to finish fully, completely. That's why he's saying, gather, contemplate its meaning. So you contemplate, you think how much benefit of studying, to listening these teachings again and again. When you do that way, then you may, your effort, if you do not have very good karma in the past, you can accumulate karma in this life to make very strong connection with these teachings, right? So that's why the try to explain this again and again. So now, first thing is, when here it is saying the benefit of teaching the Dharma, listening to it, and so on. So as a listener, listening Dharma means as a listener, what kind of quality we need it as a listener, right? For the teaching, when you teach, what kind of qualities you need it. So sometimes lack of quality of the listeners, what you call the quality, maybe even you learn not that much benefit, means not that much achievement. So you fail. So what are the quality here according to the Lamrim? When Lama Tsongkhapa introduced the first, it is saying the quality, of listening these teachings is general in a Buddhist teaching, specific this Lamrim teaching. First, abandoning the three faults of the vessels, the three faults of the vessels, containers, right? Three fault containers. You have to abandon these three fault. So if you not abandon these three faults, whatever you receive the teaching may not benefit to you. So the first fault is the fault of being like an overturned vessel. Like a container, if you overturn, right, then whatever you try to put the foods in there, it not goes inside the container. Because your containers over what you call overturn it upside down. So it not goes there. Your body is here, but Dharma not goes in there. What that means? That means you remain the body here, but your mind is not concentrating on the teachings. May your mind is thinking something differently here, there. So your mind is not listening. Your body is there. That's the first mistake. So even you stay here hours and hours will not that much benefit. You might not that much understand. Your mind is not pay attention on there, right? So that's called the fault of being like an overturned vessel. Second is the fault of being like a dirty vessel, which means even your mind is concentrate, right? But the container, if inside the container, if you dirty like a poison in there, whatever you put inside the vessel container, it will not help you. All the food will contaminate it, right? It's not eatable. It's not benefit you because that poison it destroy all the foods. So containers vessel is there, open. The foods go inside there, right? But that container is dirty. So therefore, that food will not benefit you. Similarly, as a listener, your mind is here, your body is here, same time your mind is really listening. But your intention is not good, right? Bad intention. So you listening the Dharma with the bad intention, then Dharma will not help you, not benefits you. Bad intention, what are that? There are many different types of the intentions there, right? Worst intention is, I will going to learn this Dharma and I will going to use the Dharma to make myself money. I will going to use this Dharma for gain more money, gain power, right? It's possible. People can do that way, see that way. So you enter the what you call the temple, come and study, but your intention is negative, attachment, greeds. So whatever dharma you receive, instead of reducing your attachment, it creates more attachment, more greeds, right? Then sometimes, even sometimes say, oh, I study this, like some practitioner, or I go there and study this, practice this to make myself to become very rich, to become very rich, to become very powerful. So all of this, your intention is wrong. So this dharma, whatever you learn, is not benefits you. So that is why make sure keep good intention, right? Get rid of these bad intentions. Then the fault of being like a vessel with a leaky bottom. Leaky bottom, which means you're listening, but your mind is not fully concentrating. So what you learn, but after that, you're forgetting. You're not mindful. Not mindful what you're learning. So what you got it, next you're forgetting. So leaking bottom means container have a leak bottom hole. Whatever food you put it, water put it, it's all leaking. It's not staying there. It's all go out, right? Similarly, you always be mindful. Always be mindful. Always pay attention and mindful of these teachings, right? Remember again and again. So these are the three faults container. So you need to be abandon these three fault of the vessels. Each of, if you don't stop, abandon these things, then the dharma will not that much benefit you. Then the second is rely on the six conceptions. So six kind of conceptions. So the first conception is thinking of yourself as a sick person. So, as a listener, thinking oneself as a sick person, patient. So, sick person, what? Sick of, I have a disease of anger, disease of attachment, disease of negative karmas, right? We are the patient, right? Which is the illness of mental afflictions, illness of negative karmas. So you need to recognize these things, right? So you are the first thinking of yourself as a sick person. It's not external sick person. It's the mental, right? The sick, which is the disease of destructive emotions, right? Negative karmas. If you've done horrible things in the past, remember, so, oh, I have heavy bad karma. I have this. Or I have all those anger, attachment, greed, arrogance, all kind. So you need to recognize this, So that's the first, thinking of yourself as a sick person. Then next, thinking of the instructor as a doctor. So the teacher, when you're listening to Dharma, you're thinking about the teacher, the instructor as a doctor, right? He's like your doctor to help, to cure your disease of mental afflictions, disease of these negative karmas. So seeing the teacher as like a doctor's. So that kind of intention. Then the next, thinking of the instructor explanation as a medicine. So teaching the dharma, right? Dharma itself is like a medicine. Thinking of the dharma is like a medicine, right? So then thinking of the earnest practice as the way of cure the disease. So thinking of earnest, learning earnest practice the dharma as the way of cure your disease, right? Cure your disease of destructive emotion, right? Disease of your negative karmas. Then the next, thinking of the Tathagatas as excellent beings, seeing the Tathagatas, which are the Buddhas, are the excellent beings. So when you have seen the Buddha, which is free from all this destructive emotion, the free from all the negative karmas, those beings are like your role models. Seeing them as your role model, right? They're excellent. It inspires you. As when you play the basketball, when you want to play the basketball, you have there somebody, right? I don't know these names, whoever smart people there. So those players, they put their pictures on the walls to inspire you to study, to do this practice, what this guy doing, and how many hours they're training, what kind of foods they're eating, what kind of behavior they're doing is inspire you, right? Similarly, like that. Tathagatas, that these are our role models, right? Tathagatas means Buddhas, right? Buddhas are our role model. That's the way looking them. They are our inspirations. So seeing Tathagatas as excellent beings, I want like that. I want to be like that. So it inspires you. Then the next, wishing that the teaching will endure for a long time. So wishing that the teachings, the dharma, will remain for very long times. That means you feel cherished to the dharma, right? You cherish to the dharma. You wish this dharma will remain very long times. So in order to remain long time, as a practitioner, themselves practice, they can share to the peoples. So that's how it's always yourself, how to hold the dharma, how to keep the dharma, right? So these are the what's called six conceptions for the listener need that. So when you have these six conceptions, the dharma will help you to cure your destructive emotion, your negative karma. Means whatever you learn the dharma is not remain as an academic level, right? It really helps to apply, to change your negative karmas,
to change your negative behaves, to change especially your negative emotions. So number of people, the practitioners, they cannot change, right? They cannot change. They study, they've been practiced for decades and decades, but their behavior is not changing. Their negative emotions are not changing because of they do not have these qualities, listeners' qualities, six conceptions, rely on six conceptions. So, like a understanding like a oneself, yourself as a sick person, when you really know that, it's really helps. A sick person means I am the sick of my destructive emotion. Means like nobody like the illness, right? If you have a headache, you don't like headache, right? You don't like stomach pain. Similarly, if you know you are like a thinking of yourself as a sick person means if you know your destructive emotions are the disease. If you see your destructive emotions are the disease, then you feel you don't like these destructive emotions, right? So that is why you feel like I really wants to get rid of these destructive emotions. That feeling comes. Then when you learn the dharma, then this dharma is the medicine for cure your destructive emotion. It really helps you. Otherwise, I always reminding you, many Buddhist practitioners, when you have physical health issue, there's so much worries, right? When you see the doctor and they diagnose you a certain illness, how much you concern, how much you worry, you panic, you try to find the treatments. Where is the best treatment? Here, there, right? You go to the temple or you read the text, Lamrim textbooks, the Buddha scriptures, and they're explaining about all those anger, attachment. You're realizing you have anger. You're realizing you diagnose the attachment and all this destructive emotion. Do you really feel panic? Do you really feel fear, worry? Not that much, right? See, oh, I have anger. Not big deal. We don't care. Why this? Because you do not know anger is a disease. Anger is the what you call the disadvantages of this anger. You do not know this is the disease. That's why you do not have will, desire to change them. So you do not have desire to change them, then karma is for what? Karma is medicine to cure your destructive emotion. You do not have any interest to change your destructive emotion, then dharma what? Dharma is not going to work. It just stay there. Maybe it can go negative way. Now I'm going to use dharma to make money, right? I can use my dharma to to grow my reputation, my fame, right? All this to gain something power, to make money, to make something. Now you use dharma into negative way, right? Which call your protectors, your security guard become your enemy. Now, how dangerous it is, right? Your protectors become your enemy, right? It's danger. Dharma turn into the poison, right? So when the dharma turn into poison, then this kind of disease, there's no curable. Now, there's no way to cure anything now, right? Similarly, therefore, these six wishes are really powerful. As a listener, we always, when you meditate, seeing oneself, I'm the sick of destructive emotion. I'm the illness, the patient of my illness of destructive emotion, illness of my negative karma. How dangerous they are. I've been circled in samsara since beginningless to till today because of this, right? Knowing this. And not only that, this negative karma, my next life, how much suffer now. So seeing these, then you feel I'm the really, the sick, the ill patient of all this negative emotion. Then you think, oh, my teacher who's teaching the dharma, you feel so much joy. You feel so much like if you found this excellent doctor who will going to cure your disease, as soon as when you see him, how much you feel happy. right? Because you eager to get rid of your illness. You not find anybody doctor can fix this. Finally, there's a doctor who can fix your illness. As soon as when you see that, how much you feel happy. Similar like that. You see all this disease of negative emotion, you concern so much. Now they found, oh, this is curable. So seeing this person like a doctor who can help to cure this. When you see this teacher seeing like a doctor, you feel so much appreciate. You feel so much connection. You feel so close to this teacher. That's how, right? These six, uh, uh, what you call a conception, how much it helps you. Then medicine, this teaching, the Lamrim teaching is like a medicine to cure your disease. Means how much you appreciate. You want to buy. You want to take this every day, right? Because you see the value of this medicine. When you see the Lamrim teachings, are the value, are the qualities they can cure your destructive emotion, all your negative karma, have potential to cure all the samsara suffering. How much you feel and see this valuable, this dharma, then you feel cherished, right? Then you take it, this dharma study. So then, earnest practice a way of cure the disease. So that's how you have yearning to practice this dharma. Then this dharma will cure my anger, my attachment, my negative karma. It can help to cure this. So you becoming interest to apply the practice, right? To practice, not to show, to use to make a money or something, right? It's really for cure my destructive emotions. It really helps. Then sometimes when you feel, see, oh, these great teachers like Buddha Shakyamuni, it's the excellent, great teacher. It's like your role model. You put his statues, his picture, always you see morning, evening, you see that it's inspire you. Like people who I mentioned earlier, who very much in the sports, they put their picture on their wall and they're always looking there to inspire you. Same like when you see the Tathagatas as an excellent beings, Buddha statues and Buddha's picture, it's not just only homage, the prayer, it's like they are like my inspiration. They are like my role model. They can inspire me to become exactly same like them, right? Then the next, wishing the teaching will endure for a long time, wishing all this important Buddha Dharma will remain the world very long times. If you have wished that, then you put effort to how should I helps to remain these teachings, in this world, spread all over. So you put effort to do these things. So these are the listeners' quality. So when you studying in Dharma, at least each of these six conceptuals, right? And abandon the fault container, three fault containers. Always we try to abandon and adopt these six conceptions who helps you whatever you learn, it's benefit to you. You can apply that. And there are many other explanation of what is the benefit of listening. There are many things, so we don't have time to go each of them. So we're going to stop here until stanza 10th. And then, yes. So then next is the Lamrim practice will start from the Guru devotion. So till that, the first, what you call uh, among the four, showing the instruction is that not this one. Okay, it's just leave it here now. Okay, so we finished this two, the main thing, this teaching, the source come from, Buddha, reliable, noble source, and the qualities of the Lamrim, how important they are as a listener, as a practitioner, what kind of qualities you need it, what kind of, what you call the faults you need to abandon, right? All of these are the preparation, be prepared. Then actual next, the actual Lamrim practice will start in the next. So that's why the you seeing this, you look it in the Lamrim text, right? And always be, it is very important, not just look it and just go it. I mentioned each of these quality do you have? Which one is you do not have? How can I have to have these things? How can I make myself to have these things? So to learn this, I think for me, the one of the most important is, you know, understanding one person as a sick person of this destructive emotion. This is really, really powerful. That is why the Buddha first, when he shared the Buddha Dharma, he teach the Four Noble Truths, right? He specifically show us the suffering, the illness which we have causes by your destructive emotion, the origin, truth of origin of suffering. It's a very clear. Every problem come from your destructive emotion, your karmas, right? So we should really, that philosophy is for the practitioner. If you not click that, if you really don't see these disadvantages or destructive emotion, I think you never ever become a serious practitioner, which means the practice, whatever you do, will not that much benefit you. One another main is any practice we do, it's for sake of subdue the mind, right? Any practice, Theravada, Mahayana, Sutrayana, Vajrayana, whatever you're doing is for sake of subdue your mind, means to get rid of your destructive emotion, sake of overcome your destructive emotion. To do that, yourself, from the tip of yourself, you have to feel disgust to your destructive emotion, negative karmas. Disgust, which means you feel really, really fear, concern to your negative karmas and your negative emotions. Till that, your practice will not become a serious. Renunciation practice we're talking about, it's also like that. So if you do not have enough knowledge to understanding disadvantages of your destructive emotion, your negative karma, I think your practice remain very fragile. So that is why it's very, very important to know this. Okay, we're going to stop here. Maybe the time is over, right? It's 7 to 8:30, right? The time usually, or yeah. So it's 8. We take also 8 minutes extra. So today we don't have question answer section here. Uh, maybe try to leave question answer section next class. Right? If you have any questions, keep it and you can ask to next class. Actually, each of these classes are all very important subjects. So my worry is I'm not going to finish this text within this, 2 months and a half. That's my own concern. But sometime, if I just give you just briefly, I feel like that will not enough to understand there. So I have to keep going, saying again and again, make sure, whatever you got, you really understand that. That's why it's taking too much time, so maybe question answer is less there. So if you have really, really question, maybe if we don't have time to, you can send it this question to the Jonathan email, and then Jonathan will let me know, and I will next time will sometime, if you have something really wants a big doubt or something, then leave the question answer. But otherwise, if I don't have time, then maybe not that much. If I have time sometime, then I will leave the question answer section to you, right? I think that's will going to go. Then at least within this 2.5 months, I will finish the whole uh, uh, condense the Lamrim, the short versions of the Lamrim. So this is not only teaching, it's also oral transmission. So that's why I'm reading also in Tibetans. So if you skip one section, then you don't get the full oral transmission. So don't be skip these things if you really want to have the oral transmission blessing. because recording will not going to get you the oral transmission. Recording will help you to understand which clear, but the blessing will not, through listening the recording. It's live, have to be live. Okay, thank you. So we're going to do the now dedication prayer finally. So you have this text, right? The dedication prayer you have. So we're going to recite that prayer. Through these merits, may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of false, and be delivered from samsara's oceans, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Samsara and nirvana lack even an atom of true existence, while cause and effect and dependent arisings are infallible. I seek your blessing to discern the import of Nagarjuna's thought that these two are complementary and not contradictory. May the precious and sublime Bodhicitta not yet born be born, and that which has been born not decline, but increase forever. In the snowy mountain paradise, you are the source of good and happiness, powerful Tenzin Gyatso Genresi. May you stay until samsara ends. Okay. Okay, finish. Thank you.